no.
Welcome, everybody, to the Marvel Snapcast podcast, where we have lights that don't work. I'll tell you that much. My name is Ken, also known as the SuperTechGod. And, of course, we're here with the co-host, the one and only, ItsGuestGaming. Guest, how you doing, buddy?
Fantastic. I am lovingly late to this podcast because I literally just was having too much fun playing Marvel Snap. Not even, that was exactly what happened, and I have witnesses, and I don't even care. I love you both, but I was having fun.
All right, you can show your deck later, all right?
Yeah.
And let people know how much fun you had with your deck.
Can you enunciate that better next time?
No, I think you should enunciate it worse. I think,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I said it clearly. Nonetheless, you guys know who's here with us. As always, the one and only KMBest. KM, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I, as usual, recording this on a Thursday, missing what would presumably be the worst football game of the week. And boy, will it be. Last time I came on this podcast, I was like, it's going to be a terrible game. It was an amazing game. This time, I'm confident it will be a terrible game. I am not worried about it. Lock it in.
With the bad football picks, I don't think so. I think the Jets pull out the victory. We're going to find out.
Call me Bill Simmons because I do not have an accurate method of detecting the future.
No. What's left of them? They just traded away almost everybody out of them. There's no team.
Listen, they're going to win, buddy. All right? Believe.
I would love that. I'm a Jets fan, and
Believe
I'm telling
in the
you,
green.
they will not
Believe
win
in
this
the green.
game.
All right. Listen, they got to. They got to avenge my Buccaneers, all right? The Jets are the Avengers this weekend. They need to avenge my Bucks for beating them last week.
If the Jets were the Avengers, I think they would have lost to the Chitauri. Talk about battles in New York.
That's it. See? All the puns here are worth it, guys. Make sure you listen, like, and subscribe down below. Now, we'll talk about Snap for a second.
Justin
This
Fields
weekend,
throwing the... No, hold on. I've got one more. It's Justin Fields throwing the stone and Loki's staff right back to him.
Perfect.
Just like they finally get the stone, and he's just like, hold on, I got this. Right back to Loki.
There it goes. There it is, of course. Now, this weekend was a phenomenal experience. We had the Golden Gauntlet Worlds Championship, and wow, what matchups, what great atmosphere. The community was there. Everybody was there. KMGuest was there doing big things, casting the final matchup. I want to talk about the experience for a little bit, guys. How did you guys feel after months of having the different Golden Gauntlets for different regions coming and now getting us to the finals, the World Championship? How do you guys feel about the experience overall?
Guest made a gesture like I'm supposed to talk about this. Bro, I'm a caster. You guys are the guys who are doing the work, right? No, but it's like you're like what was the experience of building all of this? It's like, dog, I'm like a barnacle. I'm a barnacle on the outside of this. I go along with the tide. I show up, roll tide, and just sort of generally do things as they are instructed to me. The people you posted a clip from my podcast that was thanks, KM, for recognizing the hard work we do. But it's like the person you should be asking this question, you should be asking it to Guest. You should be asking it to yourself. You should be asking it to Gunny. You should be asking it to Models, because those are the people who actually made this happen. What I want Guest to talk about here is, let's say you're someone on the outside, and what you want is to do what you did. What advice would you have for people when it comes to going to second dinner? If you want to bring a tournament series to life, what was your process? What was your pitch? How did it go? What could people learn from what you did?
A couple of things I would pass on. And the reason I shared that clip that I did from the KMBest podcast was because you specifically called out the fact that it was 4 of us and that it is hard, because this was to get to the World Championships in November. This process started technically back at SnapCon last year.
Right.
Gunny, STG, and myself were all down in Tampa. We all met in person for the first time down there, and at that time, we were getting to know the people from Newverse. Who were there at the event, and we were starting the conversation about what could potential competitions, tournaments, things of that nature look like for Marvel Snap. And that led to Gunny's involvement further with Newverse for the next creator event that happened afterwards. After that, Gunny and I started talking a little bit more because we were also doing some work with Snap Judgments League, and I was doing some casting things on the side with that and putting the broadcasts and videos on streams, and he was running all of that. And we noticed that when the events and all that kind of stuff was happening, we were just communicating really, really well. And then we said, we want to make this bigger scale, but there's no way we can do it alone. And I reached out to tech, he reached out to models, and we built a team. That's the first thing I would say you need to do. Never think you can do any of this type of endeavor alone. I know you went through this as well because you had your own tournament and you had another company involved, another group involved, and that's a team. It literally takes so many different people to make that kind of thing happen, and you need people you can trust. As we had meetings after meetings after meetings, talking, we were doing calls like I can't even begin to tell you, just creating the organization to present, because our mindset was, we have to present this to Disney. And that's us going over Second Dinner, over Marvel, over to Disney. And that's how my mindset was, an experience of, you have to hit that level of standard. If they wouldn't do that, then they're going to say no. So we had meetings. I mean, Tech, how long did we talk before we had our first conversation with Brady from Second Dinner?
It was weeks, almost a month. We spoke forever, and we had to, like you said, we had to make sure we had the organization down packed. We had to make sure we had everything. We had to come correct. That was the whole point. It was like, we can't come with just some plain, hey, let's try this. We had to make sure we had metrics to back it up, why it will make sense. Let's do a test run. Everything we had under the sun, we spoke about for weeks before we even presented anything to Brady at the time.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I want to emphasize to people that stuck out to me, is because I see a lot of creators who are like, well, I have an idea. And it's like, great, you have an idea. You need to have a pitch. Like, you need to have
correct
a justification for why it's a good idea. You need to write that down. You need to say, I feel confident giving this to you. You need to, like, put the work in to actually take your idea of, because I think 1 million people have been like, Second Dinner should do tournaments. 1 million people have done that. It only happens when you actually pitch them and you have a good pitch.
Agreed.
It took a lot.
You know, you see the you see that. I always remember the painting or the poster on the wall with success and the iceberg, and at the top is the success, the iceberg, but at the bottom with the iceberg is the largest, is a bunch of failures. Like, you have to shoot your shot. You have to take your chance. You have to come correct and always try and attempt to do what you want if you truly believe in it, and never give up. But everybody only sees the success. They never see all the failures that happen below. And that's exactly going back to what you said, KM. Everybody always have an idea, but never, trying to go at it and pitch it the way they should.
And to kind of can just finish up on that idea and that point, if you want to do something with Second Dinner like that, after you get the team and you commit to yourself as a group that you're going to put in all of the legwork to basically say, here's everything on a silver platter. That's got to be the mindset. You have to silver platter everything to any game company you want to try to work with, because if you're trying to get them involved with you, the less work for them, the better chance they have of saying yes. So we silver plattered so much in the first couple of events, and then by the time we got to the actual qualifier series for the Golden Gauntlet, then it was like, okay, there's a different investment here. We've proved the concept. That's all we asked for the first time, was let us just prove the concept that there is an audience for this. So we built our team. We built out the mods, the judges, casters like yourself. We continued to grow the entire I mean, it takes about, I'd say, what is it now? Around like 15, 20 people in total to run the entire event, between Twitch, casters, judges, administrators, top deck. I mean, it's a large team at this point to make that kind of thing happen, and you have to be able to trust everybody you bring in. And after you make that pitch to Second Dinner and you say, this is what we want to do, here's everything you need to know, it's not just as simple as, okay, now do it. it's everything along the way also communicating with them, because there were several different times where we'd want to make a decision about we want to adjust this or change this or want to add this. Everything that changes from that silver platter, if you take off one crumb, you have to represent, you have to keep showing, you have to keep updating. And that level of communication is what builds trust with Second Dinner, and showing that you're willing to be transparent. Don't try to pull the wool over their eyes. That's how you absolutely get them involved.
Ken, did you just enter a washing machine?
I think he did.
Yeah, maybe. Wow, you guys hear?
I could hear a washing machine.
It's a dishwasher.
Oh, but it sounded like you were recording from inside it.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, we're out of it now. We're out of it.
Yeah, you have left the washing machine.
The dish, yes, I have indeed.
But yeah, like when it comes to this kind of stuff, I think a lot of people have ideas that are in concept good, and then you run into like the first wall of reality where it's like, oh, that doesn't work, right? Like, do you know how many conversations we had to have over what the tiebreakers for this system were? Just basic stuff like that requires a shocking amount of work. A rule book has to exist that people can refer to, because if it doesn't exist, you're running just some arbitrary crap in Second Dinner's name. That works for me. I'm a streamer. I don't care. It doesn't work for Second Dinner and Disney if you're just like, oh, well, these are what I say the rules are, you're DQ'd or whatever. You need to be able to refer to stuff like that. And so I think when I think about this kind of stuff, it's very easy to just be like, I'm going to go out and get viewership, but it's very hard to do that in a way that represents both you and the company well, in as much as, like, because I don't think people know, no offense, about Game On events. I don't think people are like, this is a Game On events production. People look at this and say, this is a Second Dinner official tournament, which means that if you do shit, it's on them, regardless of the legality of it, regardless of like who is legally responsible for it. If you do shit that they don't like, it's on them. Like if you take any action on their official Marvel Snap Twitch channel, that might as well be them taking that action, which means they need to trust you that you won't do stupid shit.
Correct.
Right. Like, I mean, and, full transparency in that as well. Because of me, I'm the production manager. I run all of the streams, all the layouts, all the technical stuff that you actually watch. That's the majority of what I focus on during the events. They have to give me access to the official Marvel Snap Twitch and the official Marvel Snap YouTube. I have access to those. They have to know that I'm not going to go on there and just mess with a bunch of videos and delete a bunch of streams and go into other people's streams as Marvel Snap and saying, like, haha, Batman's better. Like they have to trust that I'm not going to do that kind of stuff. And they do. And it's taken, to be honest, a long time to also get to that point with a lot of other projects that had nothing to do with this, just gaining the trust of the team and then building this company of Game On events to produce this, because you hit the nail on the head when you were talking about it with Jerry, that we built Game On events specifically to be able to produce these events, because it also made it a lot easier for us to work with Second Dinner company to company rather than individial creator. And then we have to figure out, like, how are we taking care of our mods and the casters and all, and then there's the taxes and the legal. It just made a lot more sense for us to create an actual company. So we did.
Because as a caster for the first events, I actually, this is an example of how irresponsible I am. I still need to invoice Second Dinner for those events. I have not done that. So like I still like, do you have any idea? I've done like multiple videos that I have just completely spaced on invoicing them for. I still need to invoice them for multiple pieces of thing. Anyway, the point is not that I'm an idiot, but the point is more when we go through you guys are just like, here, it's your paycheck. Like it's because you invoiced them for a gross number of which I am a small percentage because I am a contractor then with you guys, right? Like that.
Right.
But being able to come to them and say like, this is the price for the full production and not here is a itemized list of
Correct.
this is Ken, this is Guest, this is KM, this is all, and you have to do all of those itemized and individually. That's the biggest advantage of, as far as I can tell, having a company, which, to be clear, I do not work for Game On Events. Gunny once called me an unofficial employee, which is a very nice way of saying not an employee.
Wow.
You have been more involved out of the four of us that are registered in the LLC of the company. It's you and Destructive, I think, are the two that have been the most involved in
and the other Brady.
conversations behind the scenes. And Wet Wayne Brady. Yeah, true. And Wet Wayne Brady. He gets in there too. Like, the three of you have definitely been like the next tier of, hey, if we're going to talk to anybody else in the group first, who were we reaching out to?
Right.
You three, definitely.
Yeah. Right.
And I appreciate that.
ahead.
I just think it's very funny to be like the idea of an unofficial employee. It just kind of cracks me up. It's like, yeah, I know.
Ta-da!
We can make sure you get paid. That's all we care about. We make sure you get paid. That's the goal.
Oh, yeah.
And they also got to trust you to not say things online like balls of ballsack, right? Like, who says such a thing?
Yeah.
Foolish
That rocks. I don't know how nobody noticed that. If anyone understands what he's getting at here, during the cast, Ken said like he was referring to bolts of ballsack, which, to be fair, that's kind of on them for the naming. But he said, like, normally, like, the joke is like, you know, bolts of ballsack, ha 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 ha. He ended up like tripping over it in such a way that it sounded like what he said was balls of ballsack, and nobody noticed except for me. Like, I jump right into the mod channel where they're talking about a very serious, like, okay, how do we handle this issue? And I'm just like, there's 10 people talking. I was like, yo, did you guys check out in 3 minutes? Ken's going to say balls of ballsack. That's the level of contribution I have on in like if you want to take like a serious business minded view towards what my contributions are. I would argue I'm pretty good for camaraderie. I'm pretty intelligent when it comes to feedback, but a lot of it is just lightening the mood. That's a lot of what I bring to an environment like this, because they were all being very serious, and then I went in there, I told the joke, and it kind of made the mood a little bit lighter, and they dealt with it in a I would argue, slightly less harsh way.
That's perfect. Yeah, good time, Dan. It's always a great time, and you know, Cam, again, you're phenomenal. Guests doing the things behind the scene, and of course the other two gentlemen making up the wonderful Fantastic Four. And speaking of Fantastic Four, we're going to dive into the top 4 decks of the Golden Gauntlet World Championship, and that is these wonderful decks right here.
Models is the Invisible Woman, by the way, because no one knows who he is.
He's invisible.
Like, if we're doing
change the shape of the window, not the zoom of the window.
If we're doing the Fantastic Four, Models is the Invisible Woman, and I think Guest is the Human Torch. And
yes,
I'm trying to figure out who Mr. Fantastic or the Thing. Like, maybe Guest is Mr. Fantastic because he's stretched a lot on those days.
Right, that's true.
Could work. Gunny would be the Thing. He's very nice but very hard to move on anything, which I guess makes Ken the Human Torch.
Yes, flame on. Now,
Ken's actually Herbie, I think, more so.
Wow. That's how you feel.
Really, you would be Herbie.
Again,
though, because we're talking about like multimodal. No, yeah, like multimodal.
No, you're
like,
right, actually.
Yeah. I would say you or Models is Herbie, but
beep boop.
Either way. Now, these
I'm
lists
like that
here,
dinosaur that hangs out with them sometimes. Dragon Man. Seriously, this is his name.
Dragon Man?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. We got to fact check that, guys. Now, take a look at the final 4 lists here that showed up. We did have a conversation on the podcast before what decks we thought will make it to the top 4. And we did mention Move, and we do see a Move package here. But Cerebro wasn't something that anyone mentioned, and it's there. The wonderful Shadow King, Thanos, Erisham, we kind of expect that as well. And, of course, we have the Cannonball Mercury Madness here on the right side. Out of these 4 decks, we all know who took it and who won it home. But with these top 4, did you guys expect? What decks did you guys not expect to be here?
I'm sorry. I just think it's bullshit for you to be like, oh, nobody expected Cerebro to be here when I'm the guy who told him to play Cerebro.
Yeah,
no,
I was about to say
okay.
Bullshit.
KM.
That's garbage.
I'm not talking about you because you weren't on the last podcast.
I'm just saying.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not excluding you.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Guest and
Between
Gunny
myself and Tech and Gunny
and models.
Nobody
Yes.
went Cerebro.
Cerebro,
Now, while Ken
correct.
figures out the difference between portrait and landscape and looks at the messages on Discord, I think
Is
that
that
it's
what you were
important for us-
typing?
My bad.
I think that it's important that we call out a couple of things here outside of Cerebro, which took it home. Okay.
Oops.
Number one is Erisham making another appearance in the top 4, top 16, top 8. Absolutely consistent for something that's so inconsistent. Ken, are you okay there? Do you need a minute? Because Ken's just clicking all the
Yo,
buttons.
it is-
Keep going.
Listen,
I think this is more dynamic
Let me
watching
tell you-
if you just like change the orientation
this
every
is-
5
this
seconds.
is-
It's like how a
let me tell you
YouTube
what's
video
going
you
on
gotta
here.
cut.
reason now for the listeners to need to go to YouTube to see all of the buttons that Ken just
All the
clicked.
madness.
Because
This
we've told him, don't drink before the podcast. I'm allowed to be late, but just don't
You're
drink
not,
before the podcast.
by the way.
Yeah,
We're finding you
I
for
am.
that.
For reasons
Correct,
next
we are
week we'll talk
definitely.
about, I'm allowed. But like I think the consistency of Erisham is hysterical because there's very much an aspect of inconsistency to it that a lot of people hate when they play against it. And yet the consistency in that extra energy, Ken, is
it won't let me
really
do it.
interesting because we watch it just continue to operate because of the what's the word, the imbalance of information and energy means don't worry, you're probably gonna figure it out. Don't touch it anymore, Tech.
I'm not
I
touching
think
it. I'm leaving it where it's
I
at.
think that's also like sort of metagamey, right? Like
Yeah.
Arisham has consistently performed better in Golden Gauntlets than on Ladder. That's true. But also, this metagame is relatively favorable to it because there are so few decks that are able to functionally do what it does by playing all those tech cards anymore. It is just the kind of thing that no other deck can do. And it's honestly, like, it's a pretty good deck. I like that list a lot. Teebs is really clever. There's a bunch of good stuff going on here. It's probably the best RSM list I've seen. All of that is true. I'm still not sure if I think I could have reasonably said RSM was a good choice for this tournament. And I realize there's a lot of stuff going on there, but like fundamentally that's sort of what I take away from that. Like RSM, it's consistently going to be better in a Golden Gauntlet than anything else. Do I think that it is the best of these 4 decks? Not really. I think it's maybe the 3rd best if I had to guess. And that's fine. Like, obviously, the deck choice was something that Teebs, if I recall correctly, they were very definitely going to bring a Moonstone Mercury deck. And then that ban happened, and then they were like, I'll play ours. Just jammed it. So that's my understanding of how that went down. But yeah, this is a very, of the RSM decks I've seen, I think it's probably the best built. Like when you look at the 2 RSM decks in the top 8, this one's the better one. I'm confident saying that. I'm not, or maybe it was in the top 16. Either way, I'm not confident in saying that I would have recommended anyone take RSM to this tournament.
No, I totally get that. And you're right. I think Erisham does well in the Golden Gauntlet series, but you're right. In other places, it might not. And, I mean, she did make it all the way to the finals with it. So, I mean, it is what it is at that point. But I do agree. I think if we went in order, I wouldn't have picked Cerebro to be number 1 either. I would have picked the Move deck to be number 1, Cerebro number 2, and then the Iron Patriot, Cannonball Mercury number 3, then Erisham number 4. But I know you guys see it differently.
I mean, I think that's about right. I would have flipped the last 2, but I think that's about right. The only difference is, like, okay, you think Move is better than Cerebro. Do you think it's better than Cerebro against the deck playing Mercury? Because the other 2 decks are playing Mercury. And that's like sort of the case for Cerebro here.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
If a Cerebro was going to make it into the top 4, if you asked me the week before, I would have said Cerebro 4, which a lot more people brought to the event because it had both Mercury and Shadow King and 2 of the more prominent tech cards that generally, did well in the tournament from a comparative standpoint because everybody's
Right.
teching for move. It was the conversation of so many different, creators and top end players that move is an incredibly strong deck right now. Be aware of it, be careful. And some people over-teched for it, and some people just said, I'm just going to run a very selfish deck and make it happen and not have to worry about it. And then you see the decks that make it through, and the fact that Shadow King was only in the Arishem build, which is basically tech on tech on tech, and then it also happens to have Thanos and Arishem, I found it interesting that the other decks didn't need to operate it, especially the Supergiant Cannonball list. That was the one that if I had expected to see it in another place, it would have been there in either the position for the Red Guardian or even the Copycat. But I love the fact that the Supergiant build made it there after being brought down to 4-6 to help confirm for people that this is still probably one of the most slept on tech cards outside of the top 10% of Infinite.
That's Gamer, though. Like, if you trusted that for everything Gamer did, you'd be very high on Scarlet Witch. Which, like, it's one of those things where it's like, a lot of what I do in my job is, I look at data that's on Untapped. I look at that stuff, sure. I look at, things of that nature. But what I also do is I mix that with a pretty solid knowledge of who is doing what, who is putting that data on Untapped, who is playing these decks, what are their tendencies, right? And that parsing is something that I think is important here, which is a long way of saying I think Gamer is an amazingly talented player who has played basically this exact deck for a very long time.
Right.
I'm quite surprised it did as well as it did, is what I will say. Because when I look at this deck, it's like, I'm not entirely sure what your win condition is against a lot of stuff, unless it's just they've never played against me before, and I am better in this matchup than they are. And to be fair, I think that's probably true against most people he's going to play against. But it's another one of those where it's like, I don't know if I would take this onto ladder. I don't know if I could recommend you take this onto ladder.
Fair enough. So out of all the lists here, the Cerebro, the Move, that, and Arishem, which of the two decks do you recommend to take on ladder and try to climb and get to?
Just go play Move. Just go do it. Just
You'll learn Move.
I refuse to do it. I'm out. I'm fully out. I just don't want to. I don't want to do it. Right? It's just not what I enjoy doing in Marvel Snap. I want to play a dummy curve out deck. I don't like doing combo stuff. I like interacting. I don't like any of what this is. Right?
Right.
That's what you should do.
Play Move. You guys heard that here now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So much so, I literally just filmed an entire video talking about the not so basics of Move, not because I'm an advanced Move player, but just how to look at Move through a different lens than what you might be consistently looking at it through. I'm never going to say that I'm the best Move player. I like playing Move. I think Move's a lot of fun, but there are certain principles of Move that people don't think about very often when going into playing the deck. Always having 3 plans, for example, ready by turn 3 of like, this is where I could go, this is what I could do, this is what I could do. And then how do you go from there? And I compiled, not literally that tip, but I'm just saying I compiled my thoughts and put them out into a video to help people understand that Move is probably still, in my opinion, probably a top 3 deck in the game anywhere on ladder right now. And for newer players who come into the game, we say it all the time in Series 2. Learn Move. It's a great deck to learn. And then you kind of learn your Series 3 cards, and then you want to try all the other decks, and then you kind of... It was left by the wayside for a very long time. And then only in the last, 2 seasons, all of a sudden people started to realize this is still an insanely good deck. It's complicated, but it's insanely good outside of Move Bounce. And now True Move is making its appearances more and more and more in Upper Infinite, which has made it now start to trickle down to everybody else again, because we also had all these move-related cards released in the last 2 seasons.
Can I just push back on something? Because I think this happens a lot. Someone will be like, people are only realizing it now about like whatever deck, right? And like you did this a little bit, but I'm probably going to be harsher on the idea than I am on like your specific example of it, just to be clear.
That's fine.
Here. Because there's this thing that happens all the time when people talk about things, and it's that they recognize linear time, but they don't recognize context changes. Like, well, yeah, Move got really good recently. What happened to make that happen? It's like a bunch of shit happened, dude. Right. Like a whole lot of shit happened there. Right. Like, I know you get it, but it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you aren't really specific about what you say, what you end up is giving the impression that everyone was wrong back then. And I think you got to be really sure before you say something like, oh, people just figured it out. Like, no, there's usually very much structural reasons here. And I could list probably, I don't know, I'll list a couple. Shadow King nerf, Mercury nerf, Shang-Chi nerf. There's a bunch of them, right? Just rip a couple off, right? Those are all relevant things that happened that made this more true. And I think that there's this thing where people really like to imagine a world where it's just like everyone is dead wrong. And look, that can happen, right? Sometimes people have a bunch of improper assumptions about the metagame, and someone could come along and break those assumptions in half, and all that is true. But I think you'd probably get a lot more closer to accurate by assuming people were making correct decisions. And if you assume people are making correct decisions, then you have to look into the second order things. It's like, why did this happen? And I don't really think that, like, obviously people do this for the sake of brevity, but I do think that it's important to be intentional about the way those things are phrased, because if you don't, you get a lot of people thinking this shit is just like, this deck is good because KMBest says it's good, and a bunch of people listen to KMBest, and then they go play that deck, and that makes the deck good. And it's like, no, it's the other way around. Like, I am conveying it the other way. And
no. Finished.
I think that like that kind of like, I'm not the most careful with my words. I think we all know that about me. But I do try, when it comes to what I'm saying, to say exactly the things I mean. I try really hard to get what I think up here to be what comes out of here. And it usually takes some time to get that, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that this is one of those things that it actually is important to do that with, where it's like, if this is discussed as like, what did people miss about Move for 6 months, and not what are the changes that led to this, I feel like you end up having the wrong idea about it.
I get what you're saying. I just think simultaneously to that, like I'll use my friend Timmy as an example, who has been a dedicated Move player for a very long time, like almost Move one trick, but has gone through every instance of Move since beta. And he's preached Move for a long time. He's always brought it to every tournament. He brought it to in-person tournaments as well, and has done well with it. And it's been a fun deck and been a confident deck. But like you said, there have always been threats. There have been, harder threats to navigate around, like Shang-Chi, for example, and 2-cost Shadow King. Those two in particular, I think, are the biggest ones that really restricted that deck more than anything else. And then we had 2-cost Mercury, and then forget it. It was just like, it was very difficult to deal with for quite some time. Then, as you said, all of those changes did happen, and then Move kind of was brought back into the limelight. And I think Second Dinner made a conscious effort to do that, is what it seems like. It seems like they want Move to be something that's good, but difficult. Do you agree?
I think that, and I think this is to their credit, they want decks that have a coherent identity and a different play style to be relevant in the metagame. I think it's, and this is, it's not just Move is what I'm trying to say. Discard, destroy. When you talk about archetypes that Marvel Snap has, that's what they are, right? Any archetype that is smaller than that sort of gets fused into mid-range sludge. The zombies are a great example. It's a zombie deck, but it's mid-range sludge. That's what's happening there. So when you have these decks, it's really important that they actually correspond to something that is close to end game viable. So I think a lot of people look at it as like Second Dinner has pushed Move so they could sell Move cards. I don't think it's that. I think Second Dinner pushes these archetypes so that they can be good, and there is, I don't know if this is the right word, verisimilitude between your starting experience and the end game experience. There is, I'm playing a destroy deck now, and I will upgrade this deck until it is end game quality. I'm playing a move deck now, and I will upgrade this deck until it is end game quality. Whereas the mid-range sludge decks, and I think this is also important, they have a much higher barrier to entry for any new card to come into them. And I don't just mean like, oh, to buy a new card. I mean,
right.
I am playing a mid-range pile deck. I go out and I buy the most cutting-edge cost-to-power ratio card. Then there's another card that does that a little bit better, or I make a change in my tech cards that means that I want to go a different direction. You need to basically always have the best options available when you're playing those. It's better to allow people to be a move gamer, a destroy gamer, a discard gamer, and make sure those decks are valuable and viable at endgame. And I think they've done a really good job of that. That's a correct thing to do, in my eyes, from a balance team.
I agree. And that's the reason why Move now is in that position that it's in, because they want to make sure that these archetypes have that level of from start to end. People can actually play it, enjoy it, and it gets better with time. And I think that's the best way to do it.
The problem for Move... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
The problem for Move is that it scales really heavily with skill. And so whenever you get Move to be like good for a normal person, it ends up busted for the really good players.
Right. So we got to stop it. Right. Correct. Agreed.
Question for both of you then, because you both come from very different experiences. What would it take for Marvel Second Dinner or Marvel Snap to officially say Move is too strong?
I think it's time. I think it's a function of time, not a function of specific power spikes. Like, if it's 6 months of this, they'll make a move. No pun intended.
Right.
But like, just Move doing really well in a tournament, like, yeah, whatever. Okay, duh, no shit. Like, yeah, okay, the high skill cap deck does well in a high skill environment. All right, great job, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't, like, I'll be honest, I don't think they should give a shit until it is affecting the majority of players. I just don't think they should care. And that is also a function of time. This stuff trickling down takes time.
Right. If Move got easier, I think that's when it happens. And I don't think Move will get easier. But that will be my answer. You think of Mr. Negative, and Mr. Negative is too consistent, you got to take care of Mr. Negative, right? If Move becomes simpler, where you could just, like Cam said, I want to play just a Move dumb deck, and I go on curve, and everything works, and I move in victory, then they're going to have to make that decision. But I think right now, I think that goes back to time too. And again, if it make it simpler. Why, you think that's not going to happen? You think Move will be the way it is, guess? Or what's your head at?
No. I was just curious because I've heard this conversation go back and forth, both on my own channel as actually on all of our channels. I've heard the conversation about Move, where it's like, Move is too good, Move should be nerfed, Move should not be nerfed. Here's why I think so. Here's why I don't think so. It's these numbers. It's these cards. It's not. It's this rank. It's not this rank. Weighing all of it in together is an interesting conversation piece. That's why I posed the question to the two of you, because, very different play styles, very different experiences, both with card gaming as well as in Marvel Snap. And I'm curious to see your perspectives on that in this format.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been 2 weeks. People were talking about a week ago nerfing Man-Spider. And right now, Man-Spider is not the thing you need to worry about. You know what I mean? Like, people jump so quick to say this. Okay, let's hear it, Cam.
That's what it is. Whenever a new card comes out that does really dumb numbers, people are like, oh my fucking God, it's 256. It's gotta die. This thing says 256. We gotta nerf it, guys. It's so busted. Oh my God. Look at my YouTube thumbnail. It says 256. I photoshopped 256 on the power in my YouTube thumbnail. Oh my God. Like, it is so constant. And I don't understand why people won't just be like this is the hardest thing about my job is that the expectation to be able to give you meaningful like consumer advice forward facing within 24 hours. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
and the most frustrating thing about that is that I take it very seriously, and frankly, a lot of people would vastly prefer to clickbait. Like, not just with their thumbnails or their titles, with the content. Like, that's just a fact. And look, I don't knock the hustle. I don't knock the game. You do what works for you. It's hard enough to make money in this space. God knows I know that. I get it. It does mean that there is some meaningful, like, not even like first mover tendency, but if you're the first guy to be like, yo, this is busted, you get like an extra 3,000 views on your video, that really matters to you, right? Like, it's hard because people accuse me of being like, every patch is crazy or whatever, right? And it's like, yeah, kind of, but I'm not like changing how I talk about these cards, right? When Manspider came out, I was basically like, these numbers are really good, but you're gonna get Shadow King. I don't really know what you're talking about. You're like, this is not gonna stick around, and then it didn't stick around. And kudos to me, I was right? But it just feels like there's such an incentive to be hyperbolic around that kind of stuff that drives conversations in a way that is not useful for learning things that are true.
Right.
It's
correct.
The attention economy fundamentally rewards me saying this is busted and a picture of it being 256 power much more than it rewards me saying, look, the number's really big, but fundamentally, unless you can find a way to do the whole thing on the final turn of the game, what's going to happen is people are going to Shadow King you, and you're going to have snapped, and you're going to lose 8 cubes. And that's, like, it's a cool card, it's awesome, but it's striking to me that, like, people would so much rather believe that this new card is messed up and busted. When, if you look at the 3 cards that came out, Man-Spider, Spider-Punk, and Superior Spider-Man, the one that has been the most successful by far was Spider-Punk. By an absurd margin, it is the one that has been the most successful. And obviously, it's not even necessarily responsible for its own success. Yeah?
Stop.
What?
What's the matter?
Can we tally up how many times in the last 2 weeks you have forgotten that Web Sling also came out in the opening?
Oh, God. It's got to be like 100. That's not even a real card.
Like,
I forgot.
Exactly.
I did 2 videos reviewing the season. Forgot it in those. Like,
I know. That's why I'm calling it out.
Not a real card. Fake card. I'm sorry. Like, I want to believe if it if it made a copy of itself, I'd be like, yeah, I'll play Web Sling. If it did what it did and then put a copy of itself in your hand, I'd be like, let's go. That'd be sick as fuck. It should do that, actually. Now that I think about it, why doesn't it do that? Web slings is not. You don't just do one web sling. You do multiple web slings across the city. Why doesn't it do that?
Do you want that card?
No, it would be super broken. But why doesn't it do that?
Yeah, I'm about to say.
You could balance it. Just be like the second, but just be like every consecutive one costs 1 more. You could balance it. Hire me.
What?
Call me,
One
Glenn. I'm available.
One web sling is perfect. And to talk about your last statement, you can do it on the final turn if you play the one and only Fallen One, just to let you know. If you Shuri the Fallen One, you could then Man-Spider and Zola on the final turn.
But where does Web Sling?
Okay, yeah, but then you're Shuriing the Fallen One.
Correct. You're absolutely right. No, I'm with you. I'm just saying, back to your statement, for you to make it consistent is what I meant.
It's like
web slang.
I got what you were saying. Don't worry. Don't worry about guest. I got it. It's like I think it's awesome that they're willing to do this kind of stuff and like be like, this is the sick ass merge payoff. But I also think that like people are way too quick to call a card busted. I think if you were a content creator, you would probably be more correct just saying every new card sucks than calling every new card good. just on numbers, I think you'd probably be like 70-30. Right? You probably honestly have a better record than a lot of people. And I don't really know what that trend means. I can't imagine it means anything good for their sales. But like it stands out, right?
Yeah.
And I think that like when you look at why these cards succeed, I think the answer has become pretty obvious, right? Why is Spider-Punk succeeding? Because it fills a role in an already extremely powerful engine. Why is Man-Spider not succeeding? Because it has to carry all of the weight on its own. It needs more help,
Correct.
right?
Right.
And it's fine for stuff to need more help. What's not fine is if it sits there needing more help for an extended period of time. I bring up Dormammu and Morgan Le Fay all the goddamn time. All the time. Whenever I talk about this concept, they are like example A, example B. But I think the other way to look at it is I bring up Invisible Woman First Steps as an example of this actually working. When they make a new archetype and it's actually good. That is so much better to have it actually be good than this Man-Spider pump and dump shit. Like, and I know that's not their fault, but it does, like, it's more about like the ecosystem of content and things like that. But I can't tell you anything other than, like, when I look at the coverage of Man-Spider and then I look at what Man-Spider actually is, the thing it's most reminiscent of is like a crypto pump and dump. Like, wow, look at how good this card is.
Yeah.
Like, what's this win rate?
Right.
46%. Like,
You're right. You're right. Speaking of cards that are busted, the newest card that came out this week is Ezekiel Sims.
Oh,
Now-
dear God, I hate you.
he would have been
This card's not
busted
busted.
6 months ago,
Why are you
man.
going to rain on our parade with this awful, awful thing that is so out of date?
But it's
Now, in
busted.
touch with-
It should be.
It is
should be
so
nerfed.
out of touch. Like,
I don't know if it's out of touch. Like, they
I mean, out of
probably
time.
weren't testing at the time that they made this card with
Right,
we
that's
nerfed
true.
every tech card.
Correct.
Agreed. Knowing the development cycle, but like,
Yeah.
it is a card that they probably should have just held on to for a different time.
Hey, I do
real.
wonder, like, to what degree they have the ability to do that. I would assume the answer is they have no ability to do that, right? Because that would require them just go make another card. And based on what we know of their development cycle, I don't think that's a realistic thing. I would guess that the numbers got final on this card, I don't know, a few weeks ago, but I would guess the ability for this card was probably finalized a long time ago in a way that probably would lend itself towards not being changeable.
So, with that being said, I guess you guys all agree that this card is a plastic or a double silver.
See, that's not. I don't know. I think this card is like high silver,
Yeah,
where it's
double
like
silver. All right, so what you-
for what it is. I can't get mad at it. It's a fine enough card. You can play fine enough decks with it. I also can't get excited for it in any meaningful way because this card wants to be old Angela or like a Silky Smooth type card. Those decks
Right.
don't exist. And we talk about how context informs how good these cards are, how Man-Spider doesn't succeed as well because of various things that are true about the metagame right now, like everyone playing Shadow King to beat move decks, and that makes Man-Spider look like shit. And or how the fact that Spider-Punk succeeds because move is a good deck, and so it goes in there, and that means that it succeeds, but it probably wouldn't succeed if that wasn't true, right? And
Agreed.
this guy's the same thing, where it's just context is everything here. His decks don't exist. That's it. The decks for this guy
Right.
don't exist.
I think the card is in today's current meta, the card is one piece away from being relevant. And I said it before and I'll say it again. I think this card gets better when it's a 2-1. The reason, and it sounds weird,
No, I
But
know
the
what you're
reason
saying.
being-
I just don't agree.
because I think getting this to 2-7 justifies it more than getting it to 2-6, and it is much easier to get it to 2-7 if it's a 2-1 than it is to get this as a 2-8 in its current form.
I'm elucidating like a fundamental thing though. What I'm proposing is too big doesn't fucking matter. Just not what this game is about right now. Does it hook into an engine? Great. Play with that engine. Just a guy that's like pretty good, I don't give a shit. We saw this with Zombie Mr. Fantastic. That card is hugely unplayable if he doesn't say Horde on him, right? He's a 2/8. Like, it doesn't matter how big your 2-drop is. The reason those cards were good is premised on the universal removal that the tech cards provided. You played the biggest cards that were untechable, and they allowed you to be the best tech deck. That world is gone. The old world is dead. It lies in the fires. It lies in ruins. We live in Isengard now. You cut those trees down and you build engines with them. And this guy's a tree and he is not built for this world. It doesn't matter if he's a 2/6, a 2/7, a 2/8, none of it. Doesn't matter for this guy. And that is a weird paradigm to release cards in, I got to say. Like, it really, again, I go back to Dormammu and Morgan Le Fay, but it's like, when you make these engine cards, make them matter. Because the only thing worse than a guy like this, who doesn't matter because his engine isn't strong enough, is releasing an engine and then having that engine have a 46% win rate.
So then, can you fix him?
I can fix him if I reverted. Okay, here. This is the joke I was going to make when you were talking about it. I think he needs one change to be better, and that one change is Shang-Chi, Enchantress, Cosmo, and just like list all the cards that have been nerfed. I mean, I think if Cosmic Ghost Rider was a 4/7, you know what I mean? I think if we had 4/7 Cosmic Ghost Rider,
I don't want to live in that world.
I think that's the thing. Like the finishers for that deck, the things that seal the deal for decks like this, were always, I have my interaction with you. And again, like, I feel like I'm making it sound like this guy's incredibly unplayable. He's not. Just don't run into any of the engine decks, which makes him unplayable in a competitive setting. But like the Marvel Snap, it's competitive. It's chill, right? I think it's really clear to me that if this guy just started at 2/4 or whatever, he'd be the same guy. If here's a thought experiment for you. 2x vanilla. No Patriot synergy, let's pretend. What number does X have to be to actually be good? And where would you imagine that card goes?
Just like a blank card, not him in particular, just any card.
Yeah, just imagine 2x vanilla. No abilities, doesn't work with Patriot. What are you doing with it and where?
2/6 in any deck, to be honest. You give me a 2/6, 2/7 stat, why not? Turn 2/7, dropping the board.
Okay, I play Jocasta Prodigy. Nice 7 power, dude. I have -35 going to your dome. Like, what are we doing? Okay. Right? Like, I play the card Human Torch and any card that says move. Nice 7 power, dude. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right?
That's fair. Okay.
Like, this is why the tech cards are what makes these cards functional. Because if you had reasonable answers to that stuff, then your 2/7 would be the best fucking card in the game. But you don't.
Right.
Am I allowed to say that on this podcast?
You are.
Okay. I had to make sure.
2/7.
It's true though. No, but it's a really interesting thought.
How about that?
Asking just that general question, like even as a 2/7, like I was playing the first. No. On this conversation, I was playing the first Ghost Rider this week, and I was working on some like discardy things with trying to revive the Man Spider, and when it would discard Iron Man, it's still a 2/7, but it's only a 2/7. And that's weird to say because statistically speaking, it's way above, the ratio you would expect for 2 costs to get you on total power. But as we saw with the strength of, some of the former 2-drops, which is why many of them were but changed to 3 cost because they were too powerful because of what they offered at 2 cost. 2 cost feels like it needs to be a setup cost.
You know what's messed up?
Execution cost.
The thing I thought of, if you gave me a 2/7, you know what I would do with it? I'd play it in Victoria hand with a Moon Girl, so I could play it as a 1/9. That's what I would do with a 2-7. I would quit Jet V-handed. Like, that's what I'm doing with a fucking 2-7. I'm making it a 1-9. I'm hooking that shit into an engine. Like, I'm not just playing a 2-7. I'm hooking it into Victoria Hand. I'm hooking it into Supergiant. I'm using it for priority for Supergiant. Like, that's what I'm doing with it, right? But it can't just be itself. It's gotta be something else. It's gotta hook into some shit.
Yeah.
That's fair.
It's true.
That's fair. What about Chameleon? Chameleon.
We're just
It's
moving
Chameleon.
down the shit slide, aren't we?
Chameleonaire.
Come on.
Shout out to Chameleonaire.
Yes.
He once did
That's
an
right.
entire album
Chameleonaire.
without swearing in it, which
Oh,
I
just
can't
like
even
Will
go
Smith.
a podcast without doing.
Yeah,
This
there
is
you
true.
go. How you guys feel about this wonderful card on reveal? Copy the text of another card another card here that you revealed this turn. Silver Surfer, right? That's the best home for it. Cerebral 3. Silver
Gambit.
Surfer. How you guys feeling?
That was
Gambit.
it. I only felt
Ooh.
fun in Gambit, and
Okay.
this card sucks at 3 costs. It needs to be 2. It needs to be like a 2/2 or a 2/1, and that's like it. It's the only way this card
You love
ever be
2/1.
this ability ever becomes good. It's too clunky.
I think that's basically true. I also think that, like, if you want to succeed with it, the shells that I have seen the most interest in are like shells that are doing like the Splat Onslaught Sarah type stuff, where it's just like,
Yeah, that's
I make
good.
every card in my hand cost 1, and then he's so much more acceptable because he's not 3. It's-
That's my point.
yeah.
Right.
I don't want him to be cheaper though, because that's just really fucking annoying if my opponent just gets a bunch of copies of their shit. I think that they have so many copies of things in this game that are already kind of pushing it. I think they need to take a point of power off of, like, I don't know, Mystique, Frigga. God, they have to take a point of power off of Frigga. Prodigy,
Love
they got to take a
Frigga.
point of power off of Prodigy, right? Like,
Yes,
I
yes,
want them
I
to
agree
make
with that.
all of the other ones this level of bad. I don't want them to make this guy their level of good.
Agreed. So we're going with gold on this card?
Oh no.
Plastic.
Oh no. This one's more plastic than
Silver.
the last one.
Oh, double plastic. Jeez Louise.
This shit's going double trash can. No, I think it's probably like a silver, to be honest with you, because like that
Yeah,
splat
silver,
stuff
right?
is real. Like,
Yeah, because it copies.
do you need to be playing Chameleon in it? Probably
No.
not. But can you play Chameleon? Yeah, I mean, it goes in an engine deck, right? It functionally goes in it. We just talked about how important it is to just be part of some deck that can go over the top of a bunch of shit, right?
There you go.
You can do it. You can absolutely do it. Should you do it? Can't imagine I'd want to.
It would be cool if it copied the text from another lane. It doesn't have to be in the same lane. Then it'd be a little different.
Oh my god.
I think then it would just be busted.
Yeah.
I mean, then that's, I mean, I get it. But there you go. That's what you would need for it to be good, right? But
Either
I
make
get
it cheaper or take parts of the restriction off. Yeah, that'll do
Yeah,
it.
then it'd be better. All right, then we have some cards coming out next week, this week, and Spider-Man Noir.
So close.
He messaged
close,
me
right?
Batman Noir. Like
did.
the
He
two cards,
messaged me
the two cards he
Batman
messaged me,
Noir, too.
I was the two cards we're supposed to talk about according to Ken are Batman Noir and Deafening Chord.
Yep.
It's the chord that
I
defines
wasn't gonna
things.
to
Yes.
hang him out to dry this time, but yeah.
I hung him out to
fuck it.
dry on the
appreciate you,
defining
man.
chord.
I
fine.
appreciate you both for
Yeah.
Batman Noir and Defining Chord. All right, so speaking of Spider-Man Noir, it is a 4/6. Good stats here on reveal. If other cards in play, if your other cards in play cost exactly 8 total, add the top card of your deck here and set that power to 8. All right, so this is some Howard the Duck love right here. This is some math things that you want to math to play with this and say you did the thing. This is a second version of move that is going to be super complicated just to pull off the thing you want to. And when you do it, you get rewarded. For me, I'm going to give this a gold. The 0-8 stat power to 8 is pretty good, pretty strong, especially if you get the cards you want to get to 8, the Iron Man, etc. I like this stat. How you feel about this, KM, since you're the guest?
You could not have worded that in a more confusing way, right?
I know.
KM, since you're the guest.
Since
All
you're the
right.
guest.
Okay. This guy is weird because I think he's the kind of card that in another metagame I could have been really excited about. Because when I look at this card, I see a way for my mid-range deck to just be over the top of your mid-range deck, right? That's what I see when I see this card. It's like, all right, I'm going to do really cool shit. I'm playing this in my Wiccan deck. You're getting absolutely demolished by this, dude. And it obviously wouldn't actually work in Wiccan, but it's like in a deck similar to that, right?
Right.
I'm playing a 4/14 that draws me a card. That shit is insane. I don't know if we live in a world where that shit is insane anymore, because Human Torch is arbitrarily large, and the game is much less about mid-range on mid-range, and everyone's playing a Shadow King, which presumably takes away the bonus to what this guy is actually doing. And I think when I look at him, I'm like, I'm forced to evaluate like this. Is there some dumbass combo thing I can do with this guy? Can I Living Tribunal with this guy? Can I do something really, really stupid with this guy? Because if I can't do something really, really stupid, and I'm only doing something that is like big for a mid-range deck, I think he's asking a lot out of you. And as far as what he's asking, I would guess this is a Mr. Sinister card. I would guess this is a Merlin card. These are cards that are able to manipulate the cost of cards on the board. I think that's probably going to be a pretty important aspect to what this guy does. But if I had to guess, the day one most successful deck for him is going to be some mid-range pile with Merlin and Mr. Sinister in it that has just added Mr. Sinister and Spider-Man Noir into an already existing Merlin deck. Like that would be my guess for what someone on Twitter is going to be like, I'm rank 17. It's just going to be that. Like that's I'm calling that one.
So I have one home that I think he will be consistent in. However, I don't think that home will be strong enough to compete with the current metagame that we have. And that home is Silver Surfer, hands down. Because it is the easiest thing to go Domino on 2, 3-drop on 3, 3-drop on 4, Noir on 5. And it is consistent if you build your deck with that in mind. It is basically the way I look at that is it's guaranteed Sarah. It's just your alternate plan to Sarah. So you don't draw your Sarah Surfer, you're drawing your Spider-Man Noir instead, and you're keeping that smooth curve the entire way through. Outside of that, and again, like I said, this does not mean that this is a good card. This is a lot of hoops to figure out. Merlin is an absolutely fantastic home for this card. I 100% agree with that because the skills go away. Not Agamotto, but the skills go away in particular with Merlin. You want to do that kind of cheeky stuff if you can. I think Venom is a big card for this as well, to remove costs off of the board to help get you to the number that you want to get to if you're overshooting it. But it does not feel like a card that I'm super excited to see break the meta. I think this is just it's like Zombie Galacti in the mindset of if you get the thing to happen, it's cool, but it's not going to guarantee you the game.
I think it's significantly better than Zombie Galacti. I also think that's like the least meaningful bar to clear in world history. It's like saying you're better than the Cleveland Browns. Like, okay, I'm very proud of you for that.
Oh, that's sad.
All right, so what's your rating? What is your rating on this card?
Right now, it's double silver in today's meta.
This guy's really frustrating because I want to believe there's something stupid you can do with him. Like, when I look at him, I'm like, I really want to believe on this card, right? Like, I want to believe I'm just doing something really dumb here, and it's awesome, and I get to do really cool shit. So what I'm going to say is I think this card might actually end up being good. That's what I'll say. The delta for him is really high Because where it's something like Ezekiel Sims, I'm pretty sure that card comes out and I know exactly what it's going to be. And I did. I made a video on it. I was like, here's why Ezekiel Sims is going to suck. And then he came out and that was why he sucked. I can do that very confidently for something like Ezekiel Sims. This guy's weirder and I can't. And so I'm going to cop out on this one. I don't want to, I'm going to plead the fifth. I don't want to put myself through this. I don't. The delta is very large.
It's tough. It's a tough one.
I agree.
This one, on the other hand, the delta is very small. This card is amazing.
Defining Chord. Deafening Chord.
So true.
On reveal, afflict an enemy character here that costs 3 or less with -1 power, and then remove its text. This card is doing some Red Guardian shenanigans for a 1 cost. Yes, please. Agreed. I think this card is going to be super fun. It's going to be very entertaining, and it's going to be very upsetting for your opponents when you do play this card and do the thing that it does. I definitely got to give this a wonderful platinum rating for this card. KM?
This card is my motherfucking hero. Oh, a generically valuable tech card that can go in a bunch of different decks and get rid of the little engine bullshit that's happening. Oh, shit. Jocasta doesn't work anymore. Madam Web doesn't work anymore. Maybe Human Torch doesn't work anymore. I lie awake dreaming of this card. This is everything I want in a card. I didn't think they could make a card that was more something that would be up my alley. Absolutely. The only thing holding this card back is whether or not you can afford to run it, right? That's what's holding a lot of tech back. Can you afford to put this mediocre-ass 1-drop in your deck? And I think by the same token, is it better to, if you are a combo-y deck, just play one of these and free roll your combo opponents? And so we just get to a metagame where it's the combo decks just doing this to each other?
Right,
that would suck ass, right? Interestingly, in that theoretical metagame, I would imagine Destroy ends up pretty good because it's the one that combos fully from hand, whereas Move and Jocasta combo fully from board. Cerebro also ends up favored in the Deafening Chord metagame because it gets to run Cosmo, shit like that. But this is the first card they've made in a while that actually lets us push back against this onboard combo bullshit. I'm really happy for that. Do I think it's going to be a panacea? No. No one card other than 4/7 Cosmic Ghost Rider, and even that would not be a panacea. That's what I would want, the type of player that I am. But it's not going to happen. The rest of this is a great card. I'm in for it.
All right.
4.5 stars out of 5.
Exists.
Whatever.
Yeah, so that's double platinum. Platinum. So this card exists, but Websling does not. Fair enough. Okay. Just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Yes. What? Yes. What similarity do they have other than both being 1-cost skills?
That's what I mean. That's the reason. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They're both 1-cost skills. And you're like, that's not a real
that's
card.
that's like saying that, like, oh, okay, so Aranya exists, but Snowguard does not. It's like, yes. That's just a true thing.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. I don't know. I push back on that because I've watched too many New York matches happen. And if your deck can afford a 1-cost skill to drop on turn 5 to still make your plan happen and really confuse your opponent, yeah, it's a really good card. I love Websling. I think it's a lot more fun than you might give it credit for. But
I buy fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
I buy that.
I do think, though, Deafening Chord opens up a conversation with the community that it opens a segue to a conversation with the community that we haven't really had in a little bit of a while, which is understanding the function of what the slot is doing and how that fits into the deck that you want to build, right? Because you look at Deafening Chord, you look at Red Guardian, and you look at Cosmic Ghost Rider. Very similar ideas, but the way you play them and the decks that want to use them are very different as well. So you have to understand, are you affording the Deafening Chord because it fits into your deck for that game plan, or are you fitting in a Cosmic Ghost Rider because of that game plan? And that deck building knowledge and practice is further pushed, because we've had this conversation with Red Guardian and Cosmic Ghost Rider. Now we have another card similar in that same wheelhouse of removing the text. What are you trying to do with the deck?
And understanding that, I think, is really important. And this card opens that conversation further.
Zombie Scarlet Witch and Werewolf by Night.
Duh.
I'm just letting you know. You know, this is a big secret. We got to keep it between us. But there are a couple cards that really, really like this that are really, really good.
You know what else?
I don't.
Web sling.
Why would I do that when I can do this?
Because you can do both.
No, you cannot.
You cannot.
You cannot fucking run two. Jesus Christ.
You can run as much as you want.
Challenge accepted.
You can run as much as you want. That is very
And
true.
it'll be bad, right? Like, this is this thing that happens, right? Where people, I'm like, you can't do that, right? What I mean is, and doing something else would be better, right?
Yeah.
We're going to find out. But that is the cards. That is it for this week, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot wait to see what happens next week. If we were right, we were wrong. If these cards are actually going to do what they're supposed to do. But we're going to find out. And again, how do you guys feel? Is there anything you guys want to say before we wrap it up?
Oh, do we have like a live chat right now? What are they saying?
We do. Guess? What are your people saying about
Right now, my people are
the
saying cool hat tech.
Ah, let's go. That's right.
That's what I said,
almost
too.
like-
It's Guest Gaming Shop.
It's almost like you could buy it at ItsGuestGaming.shop. It's almost
That's
like
correct.
you could do that. Yeah.
You can.
No, I wanna say one thing, and because it's our platform, we can do it. Seriously, thank you for all the kind words once again, KM, for understanding from
Agreed.
the behind the scenes as well as forward facing on how to help content creators, as well as how to help the community understand how we got to where we did with the Golden Gauntlet. It was very kind words in the podcast, and it really did, made us. We all listened to it. We all wanted to, provide that conversation amongst ourselves, but we really appreciate you recognizing it and also putting it on your platform too. So,
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, I'm shamelessly angling for future gigs, but what can you do, right? Just shamelessly ass kissing. That definitely didn't mean any of it. All
That's fine.
All ass kissing.
That's fair.
None of
it
the.
still felt
I've
good.
never. Yeah, I mean, ass kissing typically does, right? I would imagine that it does. I do think that like your example is one that sort of like I see a lot of people who I don't know the right way to put this, so I'm just going to put it the wrong way. I see a lot of people who sort of feel entitled to promotion from the company that makes this game and don't have an understanding of where to start with putting the work in because they don't even know that you have to do that, right? Like I see a lot of people,
Snaps.
they look at you and they're like, Guest gets what he has because he's a shill. And that's 10% true. Right? Like it's like, yeah, if you were just shitting if you were shitting on them all the time, you probably wouldn't get what you get, right? But most of why you get what you get is because you put in the legwork behind the scenes. And I think the reason I focus on that so much is I think there's just a lot of people that like don't even understand not even what that is, but that you have to do it in the first place. And so when I look at people who like, I feel like the way in which you have carried yourself has given people expectations that are unrealistic about what it means to try to work with this company, right? Like because you have succeeded in such a public way on the outset of it, because I have succeeded in such a public way on the outset of it, what it gives people is this impression that all you have to do is kiss ass, right? Just like say nice things and all that. And I think, if you watch any of my videos, you'd know that's not really a requirement. But I really want to stress to people the amount of work that has to happen for something like this, where a lot of people feel like it's just an issue of second dinner hasn't thought of doing this or whatever, right? And I there's this other thing that happens, and this happens a lot. People in the community, for reasons that are unknown to me, and I really try to push back on this, they love thinking they're better than the devs at their jobs. They love thinking that the idea that they had is so good that they obviously have never thought of it. I have brought I don't know how many ideas to the Marvel Snap devs. And I have an advantage of, I obviously have a greater level of connection with them than a new content creator starting out would. But that didn't happen by accident. That happened because I made a bunch of outreach in order to talk to these people, to say, here is my proposal for you coming on my podcast. I actually once, I believe, got a young newly hired Brady in trouble because I didn't clear something with marketing. I just cleared it with the person who I was interviewing. That's the kind of shit where it's like, if you don't know that you have to do that, you will fuck that up, right?
Right.
The other thing that happens is, like, one of the things I've been privately advocating for is, like, to get more people doing the stuff on their YouTube channel, because I think that's a great way to give people a step up. But if you want that, I feel like you got to go out there and get it. When I did the Prodigy video, the behind the scenes on that was a conversation about this, where someone just mentioned, I was looking at, like, getting content on the YouTube channel right now. And I was like, bet, I'll go do this video for you in 2 days. Like, I will make this happen. Like, you just this will happen right now. And here is my track record of things behind it to prove that. And I think the hardest thing is you can't get that track record, right? That's the thing that I think people struggle with, is like, how do I get that track record? And the reason I talk about you guys so much in this way is because I want people to be able to get that track record. I want people to be able to get their foot in the door, because if they can't get their foot in the door and they see things like you doing this successful stuff and me being on the commentary for all this, and they're just like, how do I have that? If someone doesn't know that the way to do that is ask for it, if you don't know that, you're never going to get it. Like, if you want to be a commentator on Golden Gauntlet, sorry, guest, I'm just going to tell him, you have to ask him. You have to, I think he's on my, like, you can't just be like, oh, they'll reach out to me about being they'll recognize my value. They fucking won't. You have to recognize your value, and you have to go out and hunt that job down. And, like, that's the thing that gets me mad, is that, like, I see so many people who expect these things, and I want them to have these things. I want them to have these things so bad, right? I want that so bad, but I don't know how to get them the experience that would make them a good pick for these things. And so what I'm trying to put out there is, like, if you have an idea, put the work in, because if you do, there is a real chance that it could actually work out. There is a real chance that it can actually work out. If you have an idea for something and you want my opinion on it, reach out to me. If you want to pitch me on something and be like, do you think they would go for this? I would be happy to help. Like, anything I can do to help you guys. If you want to be like, yo, I want to make a video for the YouTube channel, could you recommend me to them? I don't know if I could, but I would try. Like any of that stuff. It's just like, I want people to have these shots that I've gotten. And I don't know how to get them these shots. I try really hard whenever I can. And it's part of why I wanted to talk about, like, why I put, like, the background stuff from you guys on in the foreground, because I think it's important that people understand the process here, because you guys don't get this for being ass kissers. You get this for putting in the work. And that's the thing. I just don't think people know that's a thing that's real. I don't think people know that the work exists, or even how to do it, or how to conceptualize it. Like, if you told me if you asked me what were those meetings you guys had of setting up the company structure and figuring out who was going to be doing what, I wouldn't know the first fucking thing about what happens in those meetings. That's purely theoretical to me. I have no idea what the hell that would even entail. And so the more information you guys can give on stuff like that, the more people are going to be able to climb that ladder. That's how I feel, at least. Because I got lucky. I was good at a card game, and I'm good at talking. I lucked into this. You guys didn't. You guys worked. Yeah. And I think that is... it's part of why I find it so hard to extend the ladder behind me in ways that aren't just, like, obvious viewership sharing. Because I got lucky, right? I don't understand the work it takes. But you guys do. And I feel like you have the ability to really give new creators something in a way that, as much as I would like to, I don't.
I'll leave you with this little exclusive then, because I 100% agree with you in that same aspect of, you got to put in the work, and it's cool to be included simultaneously. And a lot of these newer creators who are coming into the Marvel Snap scene, who want to be a part of, projects, whether it's YouTube videos, whether it's the Golden Gauntlet, whether it's getting on socials, whatever it may be, they want to get involved. And a lot of people expect that the game companies reach out to members of the community proactively to say, hey, I'd like you to do this. And that's honestly, for many games, not how it works. And you do have to ask. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever received in my life came from the other guy in this podcast, SuperTechGod, where I want to say about a year and a half ago, he straight up used the phrase to me, closed mouths don't get fed.
I thought that was me.
Correct.
I thought I said that to you. I was pretty sure that was me.
Not at all.
If you search our DMs, I guarantee I've said that to you.
I know you've said it too, but this was a while ago with Ken that we've had these conversations about other things, because it started around the Blink video when that came out, and that was my first opportunity to do something official for Marvel.
Yep.
And I wanted to be a part of more, and that was a piece of advice he gave me. And I ran with that advice, and I've kept it close because it 100% is the truth. If you want something to happen, you have to make it happen, and you have to ask for it to happen, and you have to be ready to make that work happen as much as you want the opportunity to happen, if not more.
It can't be charity, right?
Yes, 100%.
Like if
100%
you're like, charity. I want to make a video for the YouTube channel. All right, be better than me. Like, that's what you have to do. That's your competition. You have to be better than me. And there are probably a lot of people out there who are like, you fucking suck. I could do that easily. But like, you actually have to think about that. Like, can you honestly do it? Because like when I assess the other people who do videos for Marvel Snap, right? Like, I think personally, mine's the worst. I think what I do, the worst probably. Everyone else has higher production value. You don't even think of that stuff a lot of the time, right? Higher production value. Maybe their clips are better. Maybe their descriptions of things are better. And that's sort of the thing. Like, when I talk about, like, oh, I want to do commentary, right? That doesn't just mean I show up and do it. It means I have to get better at it every single time. I've been feeling recently that I've plateaued as a commentator. I reached out to Monty, Zapgaze, and he just offered, right? Hey, I'll go through your commentary and I'll give you some feedback. I'll talk about like what happens, right? Because like I remember all the bad moments, right? I thought you were done when you said Golden Gauntlet. And then I jumped in, and then you finished his World Championship, and I was like, I blew it. I blew the clip. And it's like, if you aren't thinking about shit like that, thinking about shit like that when you're doing it, what, like, I know this sounds arrogant, and I mean it the other way. Trust me, I mean this more to demean myself, but like, what gives you the right to think you deserve this position instead of me? Because I'm working on this, right? I'm at home trying to get better at this. I'm at home honing my understanding of the metagame, honing my understanding of matchups, and how to work with my partner. I've seen other casters do this too. It's very, very important. If you want to do it, what are you going to do to take that spot from me? Because you have to do that if you want it. And like, that's the thing that's really like that I don't mean it in like an amazing, like I'm the greatest caster of all time. I think I suck. I have a long way to go. You have to be good. You have to be better than me. You have to try. Yeah. And I think that kind of stuff is like, that's how you distinguish yourself to me.
Before we get through too much on this, I'll leave with 2 points. One, that's very much a conversation I've had with other people, both in Second Dinner as well as other content creators, by saying, okay, you want to have a good production. I know as the production manager for a fact, the best casting duo, hands down, with ego involved, is myself and KM. For Marvel Snap, we have a dynamic, we have experience under our belt, we have talked about how we want to flow, and we're constantly trying to get better and better and better by doing so. You want to have a big name
That's great, but it's not entertaining. And productions are entertainment first, and casting is not creating content. Casting is casting. It's a completely different skill.
Ball game,
and it is something that you have to practice, you have to get good at. And I'm very much in the same boat as you, where I know I have things I need to work on. My pacing is something that I'm constantly trying to work on to make sure that you don't have those moments, because that's our relationship. Like at that final clip moment you're talking about, I put too long of a pause in there. That was a handoff pause, and I should not have.
It
had
felt
that
like
long
one,
of a
and I was
handoff.
like, I blew the clip.
But
I fucked the clip.
That wasn't on you. If you go watch that final call out, it sounded like the taper happened at the end of the word gauntlet. There was a pause. It 100% should have been a lead into you. And I decided to go with the whole title, and we bled over each other in the final clips. And I know that's something that we're very cognizant of, trying to be able to be good at. So if you want to have a big name person also cast the finals or take over that championship, it's got to be someone who can be entertaining, got to be energetic, got to be able to understand a game, got to be able to talk about it. And it's not just who has the biggest following. Because I'll tell you confidently, I don't give a shit what following you have as the production manager. I don't. I care about, how do you work with this person? Look at every caster duo I've ever put together. There's a dynamic involved, and that has to take precedent every single time. Outside of that, I do want to recognize that we are aligned in trying to get the smaller creators to do more with Marvel. And that's why I also reached out to every single new content creator for the Marvel Snap Creator Program. And in the next upcoming video for Sanctum Showdown and Hydro Man, I had every single one of them create a deck. And I'm showcasing their platform by doing so, just to get the word out there that, hey, you might know
these guys,
me
right,
from this, or you might know these people from this, and you've seen me on other content. Great. But have you heard of Old Man Junior 79? Have you?
Did you have to clear that
to get deck permission?
No, did you have to get permission from like the second dinner people to put other people in your video? Because I thought about doing something similar, and I was like, do I have to ask for permission for this?
So if you put people in the physical video, like when I had Lauren and Tech make an appearance in the, I forget which video it was.
Mastery. Character Mastery.
It was the Character Mastery. That's right. It was the Character Mastery video. When I had them go in, I had to get them approved.
Okay.
Because they made a physical appearance on screen, and I had to, just like when we do the Golden Gauntlets, and I'm looking at your backgrounds, I'm looking at their backgrounds, I'm looking at this, every shot for shot, I have to get cleared to Disney standard. And their appearance has to be to Disney standard, and it just has to fit all that same criteria. But for this showcase, I asked everybody to build a deck. I had the deck on there. The title of the deck was exclusively the handle, their handle and their platform, and that was it. It was just to get the word out there about these creators that people may have never heard about before, and they might see a cook from someone that they don't know of, like, wait a minute, that's a really interesting cook. I like that deck. Let me go follow that guy now. That's the whole idea of doing that.
No, that's really good. That's really good. I'm glad I can do that, because that's something that's like, the next time I get a video, I want to be trying to like spread the love in a meaningful way, but I can't get people to cameo in, because then it would be like unpaid labor or whatever the hell. I don't know how much of that I have to run by people. It's good to know that there is a level of that is functional.
Yeah, you can, like, if you're doing a video for Marvel, you're referencing people that are in the creator program and showcasing, hey, this person created this, and you're saying that, those people are already in the creator program. You know what it takes to get to the creator program, the paperwork involved as well, the permissions, etc. That's all cleared. So mentioning that name, if they already got through that door, you can mention that name on stream, on an official Marvel broadcast. You can mention the name. Like, that's totally fine. But
that's awesome.
On the screen, like us, like right now, that's a whole nother ball game, and that's another conversation and a level of permissions.
And that's crazy to be here, because I don't know what's happening in the future, but I did reach out to a few content creators for a thing, and they all sent me their decks today too. So that's pretty funny that you did that in your video, because I asked 3 people, and I'm going to say their names too: Dance, Roram, and Tucker, and they sent me some awesome things. And now
I'm sorry. Do you mean
Dance?
Dance.
Yes, not my dance. So I'm glad that I can actually do that. So thank you, guest. I didn't know we could do that. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
It's one of
You
those
can
things where
mention
it's
that,
like,
yes.
I was really
Awesome.
thinking about doing this, like, because it's like obviously something that's on my mind a lot is like, how do I like backdoor people into having a track record with Marvel? Basically, it's like that's kind of the thing that I try to
exactly
do.
the point.
Right?
It is.
Like, how do I do
I'm
that?
opening a little bit of a door. This is helping you a little bit. Now do the fucking work.
One person who I just really want to shout out on this is Husky Puppies, who is someone that I've like supported a ton, obviously, but he's like the same size or bigger streamer as me now, and that's the coolest shit of all time. Now, granted, I kind of haven't been streaming. That's kind of on me, but like it is so nice to see people be willing to actually do that, right? And Husky, I think, is the person that like. Because one of the hard things about recommending somebody for some shit is if it doesn't go well, that's on me, right? And it makes it harder to recommend people for various things. If it's like someone reaches out to me and they're like, hey, what do you think about so-and-so doing this? Like, do you have any names that would be good for doing something like this, right? And without giving any specificity, that has happened, right? And there are very few names that I'm like super willing to throw out there. But every time I've ever mentioned Husky, it's always been, yeah, that guy's my cat's a big Husky Puppies fan. But every time that happens, Husky's a name that I have built confidence in myself, and I'm just like totally willing to do that. And that's because I have never seen him ever mess anything up. Like
He's messed one thing up in his entire creation career, we'll call it, over the last 2 years. He has progressively gotten cartoony.
true.
Wow.
No, do you guys
only
not understand?
thing-
That's the thing he does. He does like a little
No, I know.
Scooby Doo True
we've hung
thing
out. I've met him
that
in
kills
person.
me.
Like,
It kills me.
It's just him. That's who he
Yeah.
is. But the second you put a camera on him, it amplifies and then snowballs. And it's something I've noticed. And it's why I reached out to him to be a caster. Because I noticed that he has the knowledge, the skill set, and the personality. And on that type of broadcast, that makes total sense. And it worked. And he was a great caster. That's why we brought him back a second time.
He's also, I want to specifically shout him out for this. Husky Puppies is the only caster that I ever saw specifically go out there and be like, hey, we're casting together. Let's practice. He's the only one I ever saw do that. I don't know if that means that other people didn't do that or if they didn't do it in the public channels. But I do know.
There were other pair-ups.
Okay. I do know that I consistently saw him being like, I'm free now. Let's do this. Let's become a better casting pair. And it's like, okay, if you don't think competing with me is a serious thing because you think I suck or whatever, consider that Husky Puppies is also doing this and he's taking this very seriously too, right? Like,
And he got the call.
consider that you need to compete with Regis Kilbin. Consider that you need to compete with Binks. Consider that you need to compete with all these people. You need to be able to say with a straight face, I would do a better job than these motherfuckers. You need to be able to say that. Because otherwise, you're asking for a handout. You're asking, oh, please be nice to me. Like, and I'm not saying that you can't do that. But I am saying that if you bring a pitch, it's a much stronger ask than a handout. If you can actually say, this KMBest guy fucking sucks. I would be way better than him. And you're right about that. And there definitely are people for whom that is true. Like Zapgaze would be way better than me. That dude's amazing. I love him. That's an easy pitch as far as I'm concerned.
So then here's the only way to really know if he's actually better than you. Does he own a suit jacket?
He owns several, yes.
Okay, good.
And
Need to do
that
that.
automatically just put him
Yeah.
above you.
Yes,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
he owns several jackets. Yeah, and, like Zapgaze is like, I mean, I don't know if you guys will be able to, like, I don't know what his rates are, right? But I know for a fact that, like, I consider it very helpful to me that he's going to go look at my tape and give me some tips. So that's what I'll say about Zapgaze.
Yeah.
Agreed. So you guys took a lot of knowledge from this wonderful podcast. Make sure you guys understand exactly what was said. Nobody is saying anything to talk down on you or make you feel away. We want to get you riled up, want to get you excited and pumped to go ahead and get those chances and take those chances and ask for what you want and make it do what it do. All right.
Can I honestly
until
say I
next
feel
time.
like such a capitalist boomer saying this stuff. Like, oh, the kids just don't want to work. Well, it's like it's not that, but it's tinged with
But
that,
you're
and it
not
pisses
wrong.
me
No,
off.
right. It's not
Right?
that. It's not
Like,
that. Right.
no,
right.
it makes me mad that this is actually how that works. Like, that's part of what bothered me. Like, the first time I learned that, like, oh, this is because, like, I'll be honest with you, I thought you were getting this stuff because you were like a nice face for this stuff, right? Oh, Guest will never criticize them. I thought that, and then I got to look behind the curtain, and I was like, oh fuck, man, really? There's so much work going on here. That's what I have to be doing. It's such bullshit. I hate that the world actually is that way. You know, I wish people could just get the stuff they wanted, you know? I really do.
Yeah, no. Doesn't work that way. I can tell you that for life experience. For all the years of my life, all right? Doesn't work that way. You got to get it. You got to earn it. You got to,
And the second I got the look behind the curtain, I was like, oh, I'm an idiot and wrong and dumb. And now I try to like let other people know that in that way. But it's like, yeah, like it's really easy to from the outside just look at this and be like, oh, well, those people are getting handouts. Why can't I? And the answer is they're not. They just aren't.
Not at all. All right. Anything else before we go?
I'm good.
All right.
Let's
Till
work.
next time, guys. Peace.